my Disney ears. Disney ears, because this just looks bleh. All right. We look a little festive here. Love it. Gotta like elevate the look, you know, for the background. The background that we haven't been in front of for most of the Booktober episodes, even though I bought this specifically for Booktober. It's fine. It's fine. Hi book besties, welcome back to the channel. My name is Maya. Welcome to episode 9 of Booktober. Yes, we're here, we made it. Nothing snuck up on no one this time around. Kind of, sort of, but also not really. But, you know, hey, we're down to the wire now. And I am really feeling it because we only have, I believe, 2 more of these Booktober videos. And all of them are going to consist of a readathon that I have been participating in all month. And I have been working double time behind the scenes to get all of these videos together and on time and like filmed and just like, okay, here are all the ideas. There were certain things that happened throughout the month where I was just like, oh, okay, we need to switch things around and do this. Y'all don't care. I have been participating in a readathon.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Leandra the TBR Zero, and I'm assuming that you clicked on this video because you're interested in finding out what exactly TBR Harvest is. It is a month-long readathon happening all throughout October, so starting on the 1st all the way up until Halloween night, and we are going to have fun getting into the spooky or spoopy feels while still focusing on our TBR goals because 2025 is just around the corner.
And one of the activities is to go through a corn maze. So basically, how we play. We roll a die, we land on a prompt, we get the prompt, we read the prompt. Simple enough? I thought so too. Let's start with roll number 1. And I already rolled these digitally, so it'll be right here as I am kind of talking to you guys. Roll number 1 was a 3, and roll number 3 could go either way. So I was at a crossroads. I decided to do the haunted house on cover, which will also get me the black cat. So that was awesome for me. I chose A Bookshop to Die For by MP Black. So enjoy that reading journey. And I will come back to you for roll number 2. So, first things first, this is a Wonderland Books cozy mystery, and praise everything, it is book 1. I did not know that when I bought it. I just saw the cabin in the woods with the bookshelves, right? Oh my gosh, can I get it? There, right there, right there. There's books in the window. So I just thought it looked cute. I thought it looked cozy. I thought it merged kind of like spooky vibes, but with like cozy vibes. And it's awesome. And I was right because it's a cozy mystery book. Let me read you guys the summary. Ditching her fiance at the altar. That's a way to start this book. Ditching her fiance at the altar, Alice Hartford bolts to her childhood hometown to reconnect with the last happy remnant of her past. I feel like there's some trauma we need to unpack there. Her mom's old bookstore. But the bookstore is falling apart, and when a handyman, it's always a handyman, let me tell you, this feels like Hallmark, but like with murder. That might actually get me to like Hallmark. Anyway, okay, that's some trauma to unpack. All right. And when a handyman, back to the book, and when a handyman working there falls to his death, never mind, the local chief of police insists it's an accident. Alice knows better and must put her detective skills to the test before a determined developer destroys her last chance at a new beginning. I am suddenly very confused. But I'm here. I'm here for it. I am here for it, so let's continue. Join Alice in book 1 of the Wonderland Books Cozy Mystery Series for a twisty, feel-good cozy mystery that celebrates books, friendship, and the courage to start anew. So is this Wonderland simply because our main character's name is Alice? Or is there going to be like other stuff that gets thrown in there? Anyways, not me already hating on this book, and I haven't even read it yet. I'm here. I'm sold. So let's read the first sentence. Alice Hartford stepped into Blithedale Books. Blithedale. Is that her maiden name? Gripping her silver sequined clutch in one hand and the train of her white wedding dress in the other. You know, I gotta say, As far as first sentences are concerned, that's pretty unique. I've been sitting in my car in the hot AZ sun and I'm starting to feel it. I am going to head indoors, start reading this lovely, amazing, intriguing book, and I'll give you my thoughts when I have more to say about it. Yes. Signing off now. Hi guys, welcome to my kitchen. This is going to be the first reading update for A Bookshop to Die For by MP Black, and yes, I'm using a napkin as a bookmark. Don't judge. When you're at work and you don't think to bring bookmarks with you, you use what you can and have available that is clean and sanitary and all of this. So, all right, I gotta say, I'm only 32 pages into this book and I know the culprit. And I believe I understand how certain characters are going to be used and the plot points that are going to be used to get there. What I am surprised and intrigued by are the elements that told me what is going to happen and spelled it out for me already. Because what I did not expect this author to do was create a scenario where the police are incompetent, very incompetent. But the fact that they are incompetent and the how and the why of their incompetency makes sense. And like, you gotta read it to understand what I'm talking about, but like, I'm just kind of shocked by first of all, the plot point being there, but then also how it is explained and how it makes sense. Because normally, under many, many circumstances, easy to follow plot points to get you to the correct conclusion and maybe even guess the correct way to get there, to me, as a reader, can either feel rushed or lazy. But that always depends on who the author is, their other works, how they go about, doing their writing. For most of the time, it is more so rushed, just because I don't know how to make this plot point believable, but everything else I already have, so let's just put this down, try and make it make sense, and hopefully the reader will be kind when they get to that part. And even the authors know, like, yeah, this was rushed. I didn't know how to combat that, and that's fine. Some writers, you know that they can combat that pretty easily based on their writing style and their growth over time as a writer. Most of the time, it can be excused as rushed in their earlier works. But as you kind of go through it a little more and they're, better and they have more technique, more styles, more ways to write things and know how to articulate themselves a little better, then it becomes to the side of lazy. I don't like to lean towards that way. That sounds very harsh and judgmental, and as a writer myself who has come across many a scenario in her book where it's like, I don't know how to explain this. I know what's going on up here. I just don't know how to put it on paper. I am more leaning towards everything is rushed, but also there are some things where objective technical things, according to the individual, which is subjective, can technically be considered lazy. So, rushed, lazy, they do oftentimes become synonymous as our descriptions, but they are two different things. Rushed is completely different than lazy. Rushed just means, okay, you did try, you had this deadline, you couldn't really figure out how to best articulate it, and because of said deadline, you were just like, well, I have the rest of it pretty much together, and I am confident in the rest of the story. It was this one part that I'm not confident in, I don't know how to write, and that's fine. Laziness is knowing that it's there and not even trying and still putting it out anyway. Now, granted, can two things coexist simultaneously? Absolutely. So, the synonymicity, is that a word? The merging together of those two definitions are often excusable and justifiable in normal conversation and giving of information of books. I don't know where we got on that topic. I feel like every single time I come to a reading vlog, there's always some sort of topic of conversation that I'm just like, okay, we need to dive in deep to this conversation because this means something to me. And then everyone else is just like, this is no big deal. Like, this is just normal. Duh. You're just figuring this out about life now. Yes, I am. So I am articulating it and I am bringing you guys along for that journey. Anyways, back to what I was saying about the book, and actually complimenting about this book, is that 30 pages in, we have our setup. We have all of the characters lining up and like giving us the answer. But the intrigue is still there for me. The way that some of these characters are used as plot tools, I would not have thought to do, because it is so easy to just like rat on an author for being lazy for choosing those plot points. However, and this is how I know it's not lazy, this was very thought through, this character who is used as a plot piece tool and is moving the story along and is allowing our main character to take a role that is not normal for that character to take a role in, but having it make sense of it, is the true genius behind the author. And like, it's almost one of those things where it's such an easy plot piece that you can mess it up so easily. Low-hanging fruits in writing are oftentimes the most dangerous to use and manipulate into your story and making it good, but this author does it so well. And that is through the incompetency of the police force, and that allows our main character, as a complete just rando off the street technically, to step into those shoes. And the way too that she describes it herself, she's like, I only know what I watch on TV. I only know what I've seen in the media, but I know for sure that this is not right. And so it's kind of just like unreliable detective who's supposed to be reliable because title. I think I'm gonna go with you a little bit more. And so the reader sides with our main character. So when she steps in to steps up to the plate to get the job done, it makes sense, and it's not like this character is impeding actual law enforcement. That is something that I believe can be very hard to just take at face value. And maybe this is just like my love of law and crime coming in, but well-intentioned third parties that are not trained in that area or are more emotionally inclined because of what happened will miss things, and if they are too involved, could oftentimes impede on investigations or other aspects of the crime scene that could actually have been very useful in determining the answer quicker than if they had not done that. So for me, when I see, small town vibes and like this one person who just always wanted to be a detective or who was very good about finding things out and getting all of the tea and stuff stepped up to the plate when there were law enforcement. Now, granted, does law enforcement always get the answer right? No, absolutely not. But there was no basis for this person to just kind of like step up and take control and take action. So I kind of like that this author is very respectful about that and has thought that through and kind of allows us to see, okay, yes, law enforcement is present, but here is why they will do nothing. Here is why they are just a dead end. Someone needs to do something, and if someone is going to do it, it is this person because XYZ, and this is what this author did. So I am very happy that the author made this character in that way. I also love that the author also kind of allows the character to be self-aware and be like, yeah, I'm no police officer, but I know that this ain't right. I know that this is not gonna end well, and she has personal stakes. Our main character has personal stakes about what is going down. So I am very happy that all of this is making sense. Granted, is this real life? No, absolutely not. But thank God, because we have a book. We have a fictional world that we could go into. I I am very happy with all of the conversational pieces that really are not even conversations. They're not even like any focal point or focus of the story. This is just stuff I'm gleaning from, you know, my love of crime and law and true crime and all of this, plus, you know, this book and all of its plot points. But I love the simplicity and the genius behind it. And this is what makes a writer a good writer. They can have conversation points, they can have all of their characters thought through, they can have all of their explanations, and all of this is not on paper. And they spend literal, what could probably equate to months of all of the little hours they work throughout their busy schedules that they fit in for this project. It adds up to months of just sitting in that world, sitting with those characters, finding out the why, finding out the how, and it doesn't come right away, and sometimes it doesn't come until you just kind of, I'm done. I can't control this story because guess what? The author does not control the story. We control what goes in print, but we don't control the story. We don't control what happens with these characters or how they form or where the story goes. We don't. We just follow along and try to write as accurately as possible because at the end of the day, it's bigger than us, which is the art of storytelling, and people glean different things, and in their versions of their stories and in how they tell it or how they articulate their thoughts and emotions, it's going to be completely different than the next person, which is why the art of oral storytelling was just so common. You know, main themes were there, but stories varied per storyteller, even if the other storyteller was alive. Even within the same storyteller, you know, the same story is not told the exact same way twice, but you are able to glean certain aspects of it and able to put it on the paper. And then we had literature and books and all of that. And it's just so great, and it's so amazing, and it's so wonderful, and I'm really jabbering on, I'm sorry, but this book just kind of brought something out of me. Or maybe it's been all of the books that I've been reading thus far, but yeah, it's great. I'm having a really good time with this too. It's a nice, light, easy read, you know. I can't wait to finish this book, and it'll probably get finished in a good reading session either today or tomorrow, depending on how busy my workplace is, because I read in between work tasks because I can do that and not get in trouble for it. So, Amazon, don't watch this. With that, I am going to head out now. Got my little scuzu tote. Gonna head out now, and I will talk to you guys when I next have something to update you guys on. All right, bye. Okay, so I was just about to leave to head to church for choir. I've read a little bit more, and I now understand. She literally just said her namesake was Alice, thus explaining the Wonderland series and the references to Alice and Wonderland, but not necessarily it being like her favorite thing in the world, although she doesn't say she dislikes it. But you know, there's references to Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland, but there's also references to literally so many other authors as well, so many really good authors as well too. So I don't know that, but that's the missing piece that I was missing. I needed to know why. Now I get it. I mean, not completely, because Wonderland series makes me think there's going to be more to tie into that, but I get it. The name and everything, yes, I get it. I understand. And I mean, series are named a bunch of different things doesn't mean it has any relevancy whatsoever to what is actually going on within the books. It just means, here's the name of the series, but I just got so wrapped up in that, and then literary references kept popping up, and there was a blessed lack of Lewis Carroll references and his Wonderland books, so I was like, what? Okay, so what are we doing here? But okay, that makes sense. It makes sense now, so we're good. Anyway, I gotta go. Bye! We need to talk about this freaking book. What is this book? I can't, because we've gotten a little bit further along in the plot, and now our author is taking us in another direction of like a different murder suspect, but the problem is that there is no evidence for this suspect, so like it's trying to take us to another suspect and like give us a little bit more suspense, but it's like there is no motive, there is no story, there is literally just a sneaking suspicion, and it's bugging me. It's bugging me so much, because even though, okay, say this guy isn't the killer, okay? Say the suspect that it is pointing to, Daryl Townsend, the big man in town who wants to completely destroy everything and make it a cement jungle instead of, you know, woods. Say it's not him, okay? Which I don't know if I actually stated that I think he is the suspect, but I think he's the suspect. So all signs point to him, right? And she found the chain. I think I've already said this part. She found the chain, she goes to the store. The person who sells the chains tells her, I think half of this town owns these chains. Half of the town owes these chains. Very important. I actually had to go back and make sure she said half the town or like a majority of the town, not all of the town, because that would just like completely just make everything that I'm about to say null and void. But I did check and it said half the town. She says she thinks half of the town owns this, and I honestly, I think she should know if all of the town bought it. I think there would be a distinct differentiation if all of the town bought it versus half the town, because she's the one that sells them. Anyway, so I went back, I confirmed it, so I have confirmation that she believes that a lot of people in the town have bought it, not everybody. And this is important. So, as we're going about trying to solve the mystery and everything, she meets with Daryl Townsend, has an interaction with him, thinks that he's suspicious, continues to move the plot forward, continues to like validate that he is our killer, and then she just has one interaction with the ex-wife of the man who was killed. And the wife takes one of the gifts that was placed there for her husband and throws it away. Not all of it, just the one. And this happens to be another woman. So you can probably tell she believes that her husband had, you know, another lover, maybe had an affair, maybe had some sort of emotional attachment to this woman, maybe this woman and him had a history and she just didn't like that and she's the overly jealous type. Honestly, there's nothing to go on at the moment. But based off of that one interaction, she decides to go and see this woman, maybe get a little bit more of the story, a little bit more context. Well, there was a newspaper clipping about an event that happened in the town. A few protesters went up against, you know, our big bad guy, Daryl Townsend, who wants to completely make a concrete jungle of their beautiful oasis in the woods and small town basically, and just completely ruin it. And so they made a protest, they won, not forever, but it's kind of like they won that battle. You know, they didn't win the war, but they won the battle. So, you know, she sees this, the store owner comes up to her, talks to her about it a little bit, and our main character notices that she is not wearing a gold chain with a heart pendant. And she starts to get petrified, and now her mind is immediately going to potential killer. And, you know, in a way I understand, like you can't rule out any suspects, but also, What is the motive? What is the basis? Why are we, like, we were just like trucking to getting all of our answers, getting all of the evidence, potentially finding maybe potential alibis, potential instigators, potential other people working with people to maybe do a takedown so that they can get what they want and it actually makes sense and there's logic and reason and common sense, you know? And then one interaction, a whole other suspect that just is like out of the blue. Maybe not out of the blue. Maybe that's not the right word because obviously there was some sort of affiliation that happened. And this person also was acting a little suspicious when the name Vince was brought up and she was like, I don't know this person. And it's like, but it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Don't say that when this person died. I mean, sorry, it's just like, don't say that when this person died, you know? Don't do it. Not the best thing to say. So now she's starting to look a little bit suspicious, and I know that this is something that is supposed to kind of like throw us off and make us look at this person. Maybe potentially she is the killer, but honestly, the fact that we just were like so gung-ho with this like one plot line and then immediately just like kind of left field, we were going down the highway. Okay, you know, oh, beautiful shiny view, you know, let me take a picture. I just like I'm like, ma'am, I get you're not a detective and I know you're self-aware of this, and I thank you for being self-aware of this, but also, what are we doing? What are we doing, ma'am? What are we doing? Because this is just kind of so funny because, I mean, I don't want to be rude to a fictional character, but I will be a little rude to a fictional character for just a little tiny second. Listen, I get it. Leave no stone unturned. Don't just throw out potential suspicious things, but don't get so paranoid to lose track and common sense and just like details. I feel like you would be a little bit more detail oriented. Like, if we're gonna go down every single path that makes someone look suspicious in this town, there's the mayor, there's the police officer. Why are they so easily influenced by Daryl Townsend? Look a little bit more into Daryl Townsend's brother, Todd. I mean, obviously Daryl Townsend is on the list, so like that's why I'm not like listing him. Sure, go for the scorned lover, potential affair angle with this person, but then don't negate the actual wife of the victim then. It just feels like the author is just very obviously trying to get us to look the other direction. Like I said, scenic view, beautiful, let's take a picture of it. Let's ignore the fact that our eyes should be on the road because there's a cliff coming up. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting tactic. It's a tactic that could work. The fact that it's like so out of left field is a little much, but if it turns out that I'm just wrong, then this is going to be a great read. If it turns out that I'm right, which I highly doubt, then it's going to be just a little less impressive than I thought. But at the same time, I'm still having fun, so I really don't care too much about that. I'm kind of taking it easy on this book because it is set up the way that it is. I don't know. That's all I got. Talk to you guys when I have more to say. Okay, that's my girl. So I literally just picked right back up reading, and you guys saw, and she literally says, if she could sneak into the bookstore and find the missing pendant, maybe she could prove Andrea killed Vince, which is where I'm like, girl, what the freaking heck? And said, or she whispered to herself, disprove it, and somehow discover how Daryl Townsend had masterminded the whole thing. That's my girl. that this is the last and final updates of A Bookshop to Die For by MP Black. Part of my suspicions were correct, but only the motive for the killing. The plan for the town was associated in the murder, but not in the way that you suspect. The person with all of the money was not the one that instigated the murder, rather instigated the cause for the person that actually did the murder, but he in no way was a part of the actual murder, but he was brought to justice for doing the underhanded things that he did in that town. And then there was the storyline for the actual killer, and it was starting to go one way, and in a way it wasn't implausible and it had you going in a certain direction, but then the more that you got into the story, the more that you were interacting with these characters, and the more that everyone was just like, okay, nope, that's it, I'm telling you the truth now, to our main character, it led to a name that honestly I should have expected all along, but I didn't for various reasons. Like, I didn't suspect this person to be directly involved for the reasons that she was. Suffice it to say, everyone had their justice served. We got all our answers, and now Alice is staying and she has her bookstore. There's just a happy ending for Alice, and thank everything, Rich is no longer in the picture. Like, I don't know if that's a spoiler or if we're getting into spoilery territory. I don't care. I had a lot of things to say about that man and about the way that their dynamics seem to work, and just even the bare minimum of interaction that we saw when he came to the small town of Blithedale. I was just like, oh no, girl, no, don't fall for that. No, because I swear on everything, even though he didn't turn in any way on her, I just felt like this man has every potential to do a freaking 180 and be the most dangerous person on this earth. He may seem kind, innocent, nice, all of these things, but dang if that love bombing was not giving me all the red flags for just a list of things. Codependency, obsession, love bombing, which is a part of like manipulation and emotional this word, because apparently I can't say it on YouTube. Yeah, I didn't like it. And the fact that other people clocked it as well, like some of the characters clocked it immediately. Like her two people that are here to help her and be her friends, I just the fact that they didn't meet the man at all and didn't get the inner monologue and inner explanation that we as the reader got and still clocked that man, I was like, okay, keep them around because they'd be good judges of character, and also just like, you found your people, stay where you are, please don't go back. And I love that she was able to kind of find a surety and a confidence in herself that wasn't reliant on her past. Like, I don't feel like she's 100% confident in herself. She's still very much questioning things and wondering the who, what, where, why logistics of it all for some of the things, but also you see just a genuine confidence in her, and you see a new hope and a new life and a life with found family, and for once she has friends, and like she's so excited about her life. She understands that it's gonna come with some struggle and some complications that she probably wouldn't have had if she went with this Mr. Richie Rich guy and all of that lifestyle and everything. But I think she sees true value in the happiness and joy and peace that she has found here, and this family that she has found, these friends, the love that she has for this place, versus just the trapped feeling that she had there of obsession and ease. So I think that I think that was really cool. I love that, and I can't wait to pick up the next book in this series, but that'll have to wait because payday has not happened yet, and also I have some bills to pay, and I have an entire stack of books that I am seeing right over there off screen, and I'm realizing maybe I should go through a few of those books before I treat myself to another read. And we're back for rule number 2. So rule number 2 actually was 2. I decided to go from, so we're here on the haunted house cover space, and I decided to go 1, 2 to this space right here, and this space says read a book with an autumnal cover. Perfect. I have plenty of those books. I chose The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I had noticed looking back over the footage, I forgot to give you guys the summary, so I'm just going to read off of the back of the book because I know that my summary is now based off of what I know of the book, and I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'll just do the spoiler-free version from the back, reading it aloud to y'all, out loud, big girl voice for the class. All right, ready? When Jeannie's aunt gives her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbor, Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs. But Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jeannie's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan, or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm, or her pumpkin spice lattes? Now to the reading experience. Oof. It's windy out there. Hi guys, good morning. It is Friday, it's payday, whee! And it's my short week. Whee! I am starting a new read. I wanted to introduce the book that we're going to be reading as rule number 2 for Escaping the Corn Maze, and that is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. And I gotta be honest, low-key, and this is kind of embarrassing, I thought Laurie Gilmore was like the pen name of the author of Laurie Gilmore, the actress, and like she may have come out with a book. I don't know, like famous people come out with books all the time. I think it's just the author pen names Laurie Gilmore because this book is so about like Gilmore Girl vibes and Gilmore Girl coded. So I'm very happy about that. What I am less happy about, if you could say, is the fact that it says a small town spicy romance at the very top. I mean, I had my reaction when I did my haul video. Package number 1. I want to start with this one because I think I know the book that is in it, and I am very, very excited for this one. It's even more gorgeous than I imagined. This has been all over like my Pinterest feed, and it's just so pretty and so beautiful. This just encapsulates fall on a cover, like cozy fall, not spooky fall. That's a different type of aesthetic. Cozy fall. This is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I literally just bought this for the cover, but I literally just looked at the back of it. First line, a small town spicy romance. Guys, I am not a romance girly. To further provide context, I am okay with romance. I actually don't mind romance. What I am not okay with is being sold something else and then having it be romance focused when I am a mood reader and I pick up books based on summaries based on my moods. So if I am not feeling particularly romantic and the book is pitched to me as like fantasy or dystopian and it's all about the freaking love triangle, Hunger Games, I don't particularly like that. Now, I will say, to give credit where credit is due, The Hunger Games is not about the romance, but I feel like it went there. Like, it didn't start off that way, the series, but it ended very much that way. Same with that freaking Divergent, man. And I feel like these really good dystopian worlds just kind of got just, I don't know what happened, what they were doing with it. At the same time, you know, I know what I'm getting into. And I don't know if I'm particularly in the mood for spicy romance because I don't know what spicy entails. I need all my spicy romance girlies in the comments, if you guys see this video ever, to comment down below. Is it like true spicy romance, or is it like spicy for normal, contemporary, lighthearted, just all the fluffs and feels types of romances? I must know in the comments. And by the time this video is uploaded, I will have already read this book. Oh, hopefully. All the fingers, eyes. Yeah, all the things crossed, toes, if I could do that. That would be cool, to be able to cross my toes. We're gonna be starting this book today, and I am very, very excited. I will be at work, so I will not be able to really talk with you guys. Anyways, gonna go to work, and I will let you guys know my thoughts as they happen. It's gonna be a day. It's gonna be a day. But hey, it's Friday, and it's payday. So it's a good day. I am about 50 pages plus. Let me actually get the total page count. Okay. I am about 58 pages into the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and, well, I am actually into. I get very flustered when people are walking by. Someone just walked by my car, and, like, windows are down, I'm talking to a freaking camera on a car mount, so that's not awkward at all. I will get past this. I will. I am bound and determined to not be so uncomfortable every single freaking time this camera comes on and I'm in my car and I'm just doing my thing and people happen to pass by. I am 58 pages into The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, and this is very much, this is very much Gilmore Girls coded, and we already knew that, but like very Gilmore Girls inspired, I feel. So we're following our main character Jeannie, who got an offer from her aunt to come back to the small town of Dream Harbor and run her cafe, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Jeannie is in her late 20s right now, and she was in a big city, and she was working for important people doing important things, very successful at it as well. She really is being described as like strong work ethic, constantly on the go, doesn't really have time for her personal life, and so she wants to reinvent herself because her last day on her job at this major corporation was to see that her boss was lying on his desk dead, and the doctors say it was from overworking himself and also just like bad diet and everything like that. Why is this person constantly driving circles? She kind of just solely focused in on the fact that he was an overworker, and she was like, is this my life? Am I just bound to like keep working, keep grinding, getting to the very top, and then dying at my desk because I overworked myself and could only afford to eat takeout every once in a while whenever I could and just make bad food decisions because I'm too busy working and I'm not really focused on my health and stuff like that, and like not really having a social life or social circle or people around me or family or anything like that. So she is very scared when her aunt is like, hey, I'm gonna be retiring and I want a vacation and travel the world, would you take over my cafe for me? She's kind of just like, she jumps at this opportunity really because she's like, oh yeah, I'll be able to invent myself, I'll be able to be in this small town, I'll have a different environment and therefore a different outlook and perspective. And so she's thinking about all of this at like freaking break of dawn because she hears noises and she's an overthinker, so she's thinking all worst case scenarios. So when you have rustling outside your window, you would think, especially like in a small town, kind of rural basically, you would think like, oh, maybe it's a little critter, maybe it's some of the local teenagers just having some fun, maybe, I don't know, it's just things rustling in the wind. No, she immediately thinks murderer. I'm defending myself. She gets a freaking bat, walks down the stairs, opens the door, readies herself with her bat, and before she can even follow through with the swing, she sees the local farmhand delivering produce to the store. To the cafe. So she's like, okay, I almost just decapitated this guy. Let me invite him in for a drink because this is cafe, is it not? Hey, want some coffee? Okay, even though I almost took off your head. And he's just like standing there silently. She takes that as a yes. She walks right back in, prepares him a coffee, and then just starts yapping about her life. And he's just silent, wishing that he could just, you know, complete his deliveries, go back to the quiet farm, and not have to deal with all of the gossip of the small town that will inevitably have something to think and say about whatever the heck this interaction is, because they will find out. And so he's just kind of sitting there regretting all of his life choices. She's just yapping, sharing her problems of not being able to sleep. He eventually gets a chance to speak, and he says, just go to the town meeting, bring up this problem. She asks him, well, will you be there as well? And he says yes. So she goes to this town meeting, and the more time goes by, she's just like, oh, he probably wasn't actually going to come to this meeting. He probably just said that to get me off of his back because, you know, she saw his face of pure just like, I don't want to be here. And she still kept him there and kept talking. So she was just like, okay, maybe he's not coming. Gets surprised when he actually sits down next to her at the meeting, because even he doesn't know why he's there. And then everyone starts coming in, and she gets introduced to the town gossips of the book club. She gets introduced to a few who are his friends, a few who may not be. And she also gets to learn a little bit more about the mayor, who essentially is the reason why Dream Harbor is called Dream Harbor, because he governs Dream Harbor by whatever is within his dreams. And, you know, I'm kind of with Logan here. I'm kind of just like, sir, I feel like there's a little bit more to governance than just dreams. I mean, dreams, sure, can have visionary elements. I'm not knocking that. But I feel like there's got to be a little bit more, especially when there was a line somewhere in there that was just like, most of the time, his dreams are accurate. Most of the time, his dreams are accurate. Now listen, that's fine. It is. It's fine to have dreams that are mostly accurate. What is not fine is to govern an entire town based on dreams that are mostly accurate. Okay? I feel like, you know, there are times where we need to have just a little bit more waking hours to determine what is good and bad for a town. You know, sleep is good. Sleep can give you a lot of thinking power throughout the day. Use that thinking power throughout the day. That's all I'm gonna say. After the meeting, she feels good. She goes to Logan, sets up a plan to catch whatever it is that is giving her a lack of sleep. Cut to, it is the next day. All of the girls are sipping coffee. Jeannie is now with a few of the girls that she met last night who are close friends with Logan, and they are just like catching up with her and kind of giving her the lay of the land in terms of like this town. And during that talk, they're just like, okay, so we noticed you think Logan is cute. And she's trying to deny it and everything. And one of the girls, Hazel, is just like, listen, girl, I don't think of him like that, but like objectively, he's hot. So it's okay if you like him like that, but just know this. And then we get to know a little bit more about Logan. His mother died shortly after his birth. His father left the picture. He was adopted by his grandparents. The whole town kind of saw this and adopted him. They just came together and loved on this little boy and watched him grow up. And you could also tell that his friends were very close to him, and he treated them more, honestly, like siblings than just friends. And that was really beautiful because they also stuck up for him like siblings. Because Hazel specifically, she was very much protective older sister energy, and she's just like, I want him to be happy, but at the same time, if you hurt him, I hurt you. And they basically had that conversation, and she got to know a little bit of Logan's past through that conversation. And now she's just like, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not here to seduce local farmers, is what she said. And so they had a little laugh about that, but genuinely she is starting to think about it, and she's just like, oh, you know, I need to take my just initial first attraction to him, and I really need to be careful because I don't want him to get hurt. Like, it's bad enough when you already have your heart broken. It's another layer on top of it when you start to understand that this person also has a lot of has a past like that, you know. And not to say that you know, it's a bad thing to have a past like that, but you should be more careful. The more you get to know about a person and their past and certain hurts and heartbreaks from the past, is kind of just like being aware of that, just making them more human to you, and you reacting more humanely to them, you know, just based on what you know. And it's really sweet that these girls, you know, were sticking up for him and very much sister energying that, and kind of giving her the shovel talk, while also saying like, also though, we want him to be happy, and you seem to make him happy, and he seems to be coming out of his shell, and we just want what's best for him, so please just be careful. But also, like, girl, get it. And it's like, I like that. I like that in these characters. And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. And my initial thoughts based on just that alone, on the story alone, like, I like the story as a whole. I like the character building that we're getting. I can't really see the world as like what it's being described as, because I feel like we're moving along really fast. Like, someone is talking really fast through a story, so you don't have time to sit with it and digest, and that's fine, honestly. I think I need a read like that. What is kind of bugging me a little bit, though, is I don't feel like I'm really liking the characters as much as I could be, simply because we're getting more show, not tell, or tell, not show. And what I mean by that is, like, we're getting a lot of their thoughts right away, and it feels very fast. Like, I can get behind instant attraction and stuff, but the way that we are just getting the information delivered, it kind of feels rushed. Like, okay, so I feel like if the writing were a little bit more storyline and dialogue with thoughts less, I feel like I would get more out of the interaction and get more emotion and get more like goosebumps and like ooh about the initial first attraction. But the fact is, we're getting pretty much only inner thoughts about these characters, and it very much feels just like they're going so fast in their heads and they're telling themselves not to. And it feels like it should work, but it's written so fast that it doesn't. I don't know how better to describe that, but it feels like we're getting a lot of the cliche thoughts that we would think on paper, and it's not translating well on paper. And like, it's funny because I feel like in our heads we have these thoughts and we have these like quick backtracks, and it makes sense in real life, but on paper it looks weird, it looks wrong, it looks too fast, and as it should, because it's like, oh wow, okay, this is just initial thoughts that are happening in our head. But I think to build a character and to build a story and to just give like a authentic, organic interaction between characters, even if it's attraction at first glance, I think you need to write it differently than how it happens in real life, you know? Just to give the reader that much more time to just sit with the characters and just really feel that emotion. Because, and I think I've said this before with another book, all we are getting is words on paper. So we're not getting all of the other senses. We're not getting the actual image of this man, Logan, this sexy farmer apparently, or this really cute, quirky cafe girl. We're not seeing these characters interacting. And it just feels like it's very, very, it's very real with its thought process. Like, you can tell that these characters are just like, I mean, all they know is surface level stuff, but it's very surface level thoughts that are very much just like very in quick succession, and there's like 180s because they're trying to talk themselves out of it, because they're like, oh, this person is sexy and attractive and I really like that, but also no, I can't like this person because that automatically means I want to go into a deeper relationship, but I don't want a relationship, but wait, maybe I do. I can kind of see that if I think about it a little bit. And it's just like, don't write that. It's kind of just like, yes, that kind of can happen in someone's mind. I see where it's going, because in my immaturity, there was a time where I was attracted to someone at first glance, and I was just like, this person is attractive. Oh wait, that attraction means I want to have a long-lasting relationship with them and want to get married with them and have a family with them. Okay, but wait, what would that look like? And it's like, one, slow down, and two, we don't need every single detail, and having it written out like that is very just like whiplashy, to the point where it takes you out of the story. So I feel like if we were to get all of those emotions in a slower time frame, to where, okay, you have the initial scene where this girl's about to literally just, major league swing this bat at this person that is just trying to deliver some groceries at her door for her cafe. So maybe get a little bit more into the emotionality, draw out the scenes. What you need in books is to draw out the scenes that last 1 second, because within that 1 second, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of thoughts going on. And yeah, sometimes the thoughts are just like all over the place, but make them all over the place in a way where, okay, give us all over the place, and then explain the all over the place, and then put us back into the scene as they're interacting, and then have it slowly just be like automatic. We already know, oh, this person just thinks that's endearing and cute, even though you might not say it, it, because that's the only reaction that seems logical. Therefore, the reader is able to just like automatically interact with the scene, rather than explaining every single little thing and explaining the emotions that we're supposed to have. Because the second the author explains an emotion that I'm supposed to have, I'm immediately just like, I've been new. What is this? Like, I'm already on the defensive now with like, author, do you think I'm dumb? Versus like, oh, this is how it is. Oh yes, this is organic. This is so cute. This is so lovely. I can't wait to read more, So that's kind of where I'm at in this book. It's interesting for sure, and I'm going to read a little bit more at work today, so that should be fun. Speaking of work, I need to go in now, and I will talk to you guys when I next have something to update you guys on with this book. All right, bye. This is like a knife in the heart, just like read me to shreds, but there is a literal quote on page 130 that says, she'd graduated college all shiny and optimistic about her future with her nose ring intact, and then spent the next 7 years having her soul sucked out 1 10-hour day at a time. I so relate to that, sister. I'm gonna get back to the book, and I will actually have thoughts to say later on in the day. Okay, bye. Hi guys. It's not the same day, if you couldn't tell, just by dressage. I have read a significant amount more, and yes, I still have the napkin as a bookmark, and I have no new thoughts on the writing style or anything like that, but I am still here for the story. It's giving very simple. It reads very surface level and kind of shallow in my opinion. And like, the characters themselves seem very shallow. There's just like no substance in them. Like, there are moments where I get involved and I get attached to these characters. Like the backstory for Logan, who is our main protagonist love interest, like his backstory alone should make me feel empathetic, should make me feel sorry for him. But the only personality that this man has is his ex and his past. And Jeannie, she has too much written out of her personality. I'm not really seeing it, I'm being told it. Like, I see it through inner thoughts, and those moments are really good. Where we left off in the story, I was telling you guys, like, she had met Logan and he had taken her to this town meeting. Now she knows some of his close friends who he went to school with. I mean, everyone in this town knows everyone, but you get my point. They went to school together, they're friends, and they're in the cafe, they're talking about Logan, and they basically give her the shovel talk and all of this. Well, then she gets introduced to more people from the town. She knows people's usual orders. She very much so is like now involved in book club because she saw the books that they were reading and they happened to be spicy romance books, which honestly, up until that point was the only spicy romance thing in this book. And so this line kind of confused me. I was like, where is the spice? And then I read a little bit further and I was like, oh, I digress. I kind of got off track. She liked the idea behind them. She read a little bit of it and she was like, ooh, maybe I'm a spicy romance girly. And then they got onto the conversation of Logan because everyone in the town loves him and wants to protect him. Now he's kind of stuck with people who are all up in his business and who just want him to, you know, settle down with a nice girl, but not the girl that came from out of town because she was just a mess and a nuisance and she broke his heart. And so they are very wary of this new girl, but they're also kind of appreciative and they kind of want to put them together, but at the same time, they're just kind of like giving her the shovel talk yet again because, again, well-loved. The entire town is protecting him. That doesn't stop her from liking him though, and that doesn't stop the one guy in the book club being like, okay, you'll really like this book, slides the book over to her, and on the cover is sexy farmer. So she's just like, oh. There's more interactions between Logan and Jeannie, and they're both just like agreeing to kind of a secret relationship, if you will, from the town, because Logan doesn't want everyone in his business, and Jeannie just finds it fun and fascinating, and she really likes this guy. And their relationship is still developing in secret. They keep meeting outside of their secret escapades. Logan is being pulled more and more into town by his friends, and he's just kind of like, I'm here, but whatever, it's fine. So now we are at the point where Jeannie somehow finds a way to go to the farm, and she meets the chickens, she sees the alpaca and all of the other little farm animals, gets taken to Logan's part of the family farm and gets to see his room. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. They jump apart while Logan jumps away from Jeannie. She's kind of a little upset about that, and she asks about Lucy a little bit more specifically. He tells her a little bit about what happened, and that is kind of where I'm at. It's just so quick to get through, but it's so easy to put down. And I'm not trying to be shady with this at all. It's just, it's so easy to put down because it's like, there's nothing to interact with. There's nothing that is like, yes, I'm intrigued when I pick it up, but like nothing is forcing me to pick it up other than the fact that, hey, I have a readathon game that I want to complete, and I want to get through the freaking corn maze, okay? I want to at least complete one fun fall activity, even if it is a figment of my imagination and on paper, you know? That's a little shady, but that's more towards my life than anything. But you know, I want so much more for this book. And like, it's not bad. It really isn't. It's a fun, great, easy read. And the storyline is cute and adorable, and the backstories are really nice, but it's so surface level and shallow that it's just kind of like turning me off a little bit. Now, again, we are all in the mood for books like these, so I'm assuming if I were more in the mood for that type of book, and now that I know what this type of book is, would I reread this? Actually, yes, because if I'm in the mood for something that's quick and easy and fun and cute, it is a little cringy and awkward, but sometimes I like that. So I'm gonna read a little bit more of this, and I will catch you guys up when I next have something to update you guys on, but I mean, I'm pretty much through the book. Let's get reading. Okay, I am clearly so emotionally charged that I am literally picking up my phone in like the most unprofessional vlog style angle ever. But listen, this is warranted because Jeannie is getting on my ever freaking lovin' nerves. Now listen, I understand Logan has some things to work through, but girl, he's been working on it. Sorry, I just spit. He's been working on that, okay? Like, he's been working so hard on it, and it's like, girl, You know his past, you know what he's dealing with, you understand that there are things at play, but it's like you're not acknowledging any of it. Even with all of that, you still expect the same standard of him that you would expect of any other man that you didn't know any of their issues about. And now listen, I'm not trying to like be non-girls here, okay? Don't even come for me with that. I'm a girl's girl, okay? And she's going through it too. But like, the man is trying. She is not. So therefore, I have so much less grace on that. And especially because, woman, you know his past. He knows yours. He gives you all of the grace, you give him none. And I am so freaking sick of it. And the fact that she is so entitled to sit up here on her high horse and have her thoughts and opinions about these things, I get it. You're hurt. And yes, all of these things go through your head and through your mind. But the fact is, you are just doing anything and everything to not have to confront yourself and your actions and your problems that you need to work through. And now you are finding a way to blame it on the other person. And no wonder you suck at relationships. Like, actually, I'm hearing how I sound. And I think the real problem is that been there, done that, sister, and like, so selfish. Like, he's actually trying. There are things that he is working through. He is acknowledging them. He is coming to terms with them. He is absorbing the information. He is listening to people. She is not. And that makes me so upset because then she puts it all on him and he is putting things on her, but then he's coming around to the idea of like, oh wait, I shouldn't be doing that. This is my issue, not hers. He's taking in all of the news about like how his friends think he has abandonment issues, which clearly fear of rejection issues, and the layers of those issues, by the way, he's dealing with as he's starting to understand and acknowledge that they exist. She is not, and that is pissing me off because then she goes and turns around and instead of dealing with her issues is putting it onto him and being like, you need to get your stuff together. It's just problematic. I don't like it. I don't like the way that she's not putting in any effort. And see, I would have more sympathy for both characters because like both of them need to get life together. I'm not even saying that Logan doesn't. I'm just saying the man is working on it and he acknowledges when things happen. Jeannie does not, and she's ticking me off.
12 seconds later.
I officially hate her. This man finally shows up to talk to her and be an adult about it, right? I mean, sure, he had his like little childish moment of not talking to her for a week, but she wasn't talking back either, so they're both very childish at this point. It's fine. He finally comes to talk to her, and so he's asking for her, and she is cowering away in the break room, hearing everything that's going on, and then he makes the threat that he's gonna say everything in front of all of the nosy townspeople. Of course, they are trying to dissent on that, but like others are trying to like shush them so that they can be exactly what he described them as. And this woman literally has the thought, I know his past. I'm not a monster. I'm not gonna allow him to say whatever he's gonna say in front of other people. You knew about his past and you didn't even, I don't know, think twice about him, and you dare to have all of these negative thoughts about him and not try and deal with any of your BS? Any of it. This entire freaking book. This man reaches out. He is the only one that is making effort time and time and time again, and you have the nerve to think that, Miss All High and Mighty. Oh, I'm not a monster. I am an angel. Okay, Miss Angel. What have you done for him in any of this, other than purely existing? You consistently have only ever thought of yourself in this entire thing. How do you feel about the town that you're living in? How do you feel about the new sexy farmer that you met at the most absurd hours in the morning and almost decapitated his head on the first meeting? How you felt if the news of your guys' secret rendezvous got out to the townspeople, how you would be protected if you got hurt from him because you thought everyone else was only going to protect and defend him. No, ma'am. No, ma'am, I don't like that energy. Calming down, back to reading, and hopefully I won't rip this book in half because of her. And it just keeps getting worse. Listen to this, and I quote from the book because this is absolutely ridiculous. No, Jeannie, no, you will not fall prey to the sexy farmer again, italicized as thoughts. He'd been a complete jerk. Okay, so have you, but he'd slept with her and then had the audacity to tell her what she wanted, that she'd be better off leaving altogether. Ma'am, he said what he was feeling. He said specifically, I don't know you that well, but from what I have heard, it sounds like you are running away from your old life, from the fear of being your boss, and you are here to try and find yourself again. And in the process of doing so, you may not want to stay here once you realize what you actually want. And through this entire first 200 or so pages, a little less than that maybe, maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, 150 pages, she was going back and forth on whether or not it was a good idea to stay in this town. If she was actually good enough to be this cafe owner. She wanted to be for the sake of, I don't know what, her own gratification? I don't know. To hear kudos? I don't know. But it sounded like, truly, everything that she said, she was kind of just like, I want to reinvent myself and be this other person, this whole other person that I never thought to be because this was my old life. I'm trying to get a new one. And this entire time, being in contact with a realtor for other buildings and other locations and other things to do. Sure, she had no backup plan when she came to this cafe, but she also didn't have a permanent plan. She didn't see herself here permanently. And she admits that. And she's been admitting that. And she says, what if I'm not good enough? What if I have, you know, she's doubting, what if I am better somewhere else? What if I am better off just selling this place and finding somewhere else to go? She's been, like, questioning everything and seriously doubting whether or not she wants to stay in this town. So can you blame him for saying, this is what I am seeing? Therefore, because of my past, which you now know about, I don't want to make those mistakes again. Let's just have a chill couple weeks while you get your life together. A lot of what is going on right now wasn't because of him. It was because you suddenly made a big declaration, hung out together. You were the one that hesitated. You were the one that wanted to take it slow. You were the one that was questioning everything, even within the secret relationships and stuff. You were the one that was running away from your life. You were the one that didn't know if you wanted to stay. And you know about his past with girls like that. And you knew that he fell hard and fast, and you guys both acknowledged that you fell hard and fast. What is wrong with taking it slow? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So to call him a jerk because he said what he felt, he was communicating with you. Do you know how many men and women and humans in general don't communicate, like, their feelings at all? And he was honest. That was hard for him. And you call him a jerk. Freaking, I'm done with you. But I'm not done with this book. I'm so close. I'm just gonna finish it out. But dang, girl. Dang, I really dislike you right now. I finally got my tripod. I am done with reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and for everything I've ever had to say, it was a nice and fast read. It had a lot of good things going for it. The small town vibes, the beautiful autumn season as the picturesque background. The characters themselves were fleshed out enough for me to not have very many issues with them, other than obviously with my very apparent issue with Jeannie's attitude. But I do think that a lot of what I was reading was kind of spoon-fed to me a little bit and was written in a way where I couldn't come up with the thoughts that were obvious organically. What I did want to mention, I have been watching a lot of reading vlogs recently, and of course all of them have this book in it because, hello, fall to the max. And one of the things that I heard one of the people that I was watching say about this book is that they don't particularly like how much the ex was brought up. While it was brought up a lot, I mean, that was kind of the crux of all of the miscommunications and misunderstandings. And when he finally acknowledges it, and when he finally is trying to work through it and he's working on it, he's able to better communicate with Jeannie, and therefore the ex is brought up a lot less. And even though he's constantly comparing the two, it is kind of just like, there is still that fear that he's working on, and it's being played out in the story. So honestly, for me, that was not a drawback. And in fact, even I could say the same with Jeannie, like the fears and insecurities of, you know, what her age means, the fact that, you know, she kind of pushed a lot of people away in her life and she was solely focused on work, and work kind of sucked all of her and her personality out of her, or at least she felt that way, and trying to compare herself to her aunt, that was overused a lot too. And that is something that she needed to work on because it was an emotional response to the interactions involving Logan. Unfortunately, she did not get past that. You know, she did not acknowledge any of that, which is why I had such a almost visceral reaction to her. You guys saw my raw emotion with the shaky-handed, like, I really hate this. Both of these people were focused on things that were very prevalent in their lives, and whether we like it or not, admit it or not, we're kind of the same way. But just overall for right now, like, it was a good read, it was fun, it was cute, it was very quirky, it was a little, and it got all of the emotions, it got all of the feels, it did its thing, and we're moving on. We got a third roll for y'all. We rolled a 6, as you guys can see. So we went from autumnal cover to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the prompt is a book under 300 pages. I chose Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, illustrated by Erin Faith Hicks. Of friends. What she's talking about right here looks freaking bomb. Like, can we please make this reality? That would be awesome. There's still a couple more weeks left of October. I could potentially try making this. That's a lot, but I could try. Last line. Suffering succotash. So, okay, quick backstory. I used to have braces, alright? And this was in like my 4th grade year. Everything, I mean everything happened to me in 4th grade year. got the glasses, got the braces, got these, got curves, and was also found out what it truly means to be a woman. If you know, you know. If you don't, bless your soul. My teeth weren't used to like things being in my mouth, obviously. I don't know if you ever really get used to it, because like I always knew it was there, but it just didn't bother me as much. But the first like initial stuff that went down in my mouth that was like major repair, like straightening and stuff, I started speaking like with a what's it called, like with a lisp? Is that what it's called? Like long drawn out syllables, mostly consonants, specifically S's. And my mother she made a reference to like one of her shows, this one animation character that would always say suffer and succotash or something like that.
Suffer and succotash.
So the fact that it's in this book, every single time I hear that, I'm just instantly reminded of the fact that I used to have braces, and the one thing that my mother would always like tease me about would be the stupid way that I would have to talk around them. And suffer and succotash, like I can't do it now. Like I can't hold out any of the vowels anymore because I choose to not relive that moment of my life. But yeah, that's what that reminded me of. I don't know why. That's just very random, but every single time I see it. He is me, I am him. That picture right there says it all. That is legit me. I love that. Okay, so this is interesting. They're having a talk about how they met, and Josiah just like really seems to think that fate is a thing that happens to us and that there is no action, there is no choices. And he says something in here that I never really caught before, and he says, that sounds like a lot of work. I would rather like to think of it as fate. You can't choose the consequences of your choices, but you choose people, you choose life paths, and what comes of that, you continue to choose to stick by it, or you choose to do something else. But life and friendships are about choices. You chose this person, you continue to choose them. And that's relationships of any kind. It's not just friendships, but you know, meeting might be happenstance. Like the way that you guys meet might be happenstance, but you make the choice to continue the conversation. You make the choice to continue the relationship. You make the choice to stay friends or to fall apart. You make those choices, and it is work. So the fact that he is like wanting life to work itself out and for other people to choose and make those choices and make those actions, but not put in the effort himself, that's actually very interesting. And I think that kind of plays into the very idea of this girl that he seems to have a crush on. And when Deja asks him point blank, like, do you think about this girl outside of, you know, our time here? And he answers very honestly, and he says no. It's a pumpkin patch thing. And it's kind of just like, you are crushing on this girl from a distance because she's conventionally attractive, or just simply she's attractive in your eyes. Both things can be true. And you are making a choice to like someone or something, but not taking any action behind it so that you can have these feelings, have these periphery emotions, really, but not have to take ownership and accountability of it because you chose not to get close. It's kind of interesting. Like, I mean, I feel like I've got that in past readings, but I don't think I was ever to truly like get it and articulate it, or like really have a response in general about it. But I just think that's so interesting because I used to like someone from a distance, and I used to think he was attractive. I used to think, I mean, not that he isn't, it like conventionally he is attractive, and a lot of girls did find him attractive, but the thing about it is I didn't really take action on, you know, getting to know him better or talking to him. If there was ever a conversation we were both involved in, it was not because of either one of us, really, because he didn't really know necessarily that I existed outside of his friend group, and he didn't have any interest outside of that. And even though I had interest outside of it, I didn't show that I had interest outside of it, you know? So I didn't take action. I didn't choose to develop a relationship, friendship or not, with him, you know? And so that relationship kind of fizzled out. Now I do have an attraction to someone, but I choose to engage with them. There are times where I don't choose to engage because I am shy, or I get too much in my head, or I overthink it, or I just genuinely am just like, I am at a space where I don't need a relationship past friendship. And I have always told people, and I mean it, I want friendship first. So there are times where if I were to engage in conversation, the motive would not be friendship. The motive would be, I think you're attractive. I like you. I've liked what I've seen when we have interacted. And now there's an emotionality behind it that just doesn't need to be there. So I don't engage with that emotion because it could lead to ruining what could be a beautiful potential friendship. So I don't even try to do that. All of that to say is that I choose to develop a relationship with this person. I choose to show that I want to be friends. I choose to go out of my way to talk with them or engage with them. Or if it seems like they're trying to make the effort as well, then, you know, encouraging that effort and being like, hey, yeah, absolutely, let's continue this conversation. Or if like I don't see where this conversation is going and it's just, you know, kind of fizzling out, I choose to step back and be like, okay, we had a good conversation up until this point. We don't know where to go from here, but I'm not going to maintain the awkwardness of whatever is going on outside of that, because I don't want it to be anything where I am simply interacting with you because I find you attractive, or I'm interacting with you because I want something more. Truly, just interacting with you is enough, and I want that to be enough, and I want you to know, like, there is no pressure aside from that choice. So, you know, for them to choose the relationship as well. And the fact that there is continuous interaction on both sides means that, at the very least, openness to a friendship is a thing, which I greatly appreciate and honestly is really cool, because the guy is really cool. I enjoy talking with him. I think he's talented. I think, yes, he is attractive, and I think that he is a really good man. All of that to get back to what I just initially thought of, we are able to choose how relationships go. There is an element of action that goes along with the circumstances that you are put into. And I think that is a great discussion piece that is in there that I just have never really like full on gotten before, and it's nice to see that play out in just a very innocent, very light conversation, but there's so much that you can glean from it. I love that. I love that type of writing style. This is a great quote. I don't want this girl to achieve mythical status in your life just because you never talk to her. Bro, that was literally this one past guy and me until I realized like, oh, that was stupid. This is why I talk things out, okay? This is great. You are jumping off of a moving vehicle and all you care about is that this is against the rules. I swear, this man... Okay. I'm just gonna let that sit with you guys. All right, we're in the home stretch, y'all, and guess what? We only had one more roll, thank everything. That roll was a number 4, and so we were at a book under 300 pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is the end at the pumpkin patch. And this prompt was choose anything from the trick or treat game. So this is the trick or treat game. We have a bunch of Halloween items here, and I get to choose one that I want to have to complete said prompt. So I decided to do the most iconic thing that you could ever think of for trick or treat, and that is candy. So for this prompt, you need to go to the next page here where all the prompts are. Read a book with a sweet word in the title. I can think of nothing better than A Candy-Coated Murder by Kathleen Suzette. I actually didn't get much in the way of vlogging for this book simply because I was on a time crunch, honestly. I basically introed this book and I gave my initial thoughts, and then I was just like, but I literally spent all day editing today. My brain is just like on overdrive. I don't really feel in the mood to read right now. I'm gonna go to the store, make my dinner, and make a cozy meal, have some time to myself, and then I'm gonna sit down with a slice of cake and read this book. And that is exactly what I did, y'all. Hi guys. It's been a day. I have been sitting in this room, literally in this position, in this exact spot all day because I was finishing up last episode. I literally just finished it. It's exporting, it's uploading. We're going to be reading A Candy-Coated Murder by Kathleen Suzette, and I have no idea what this is about. Didn't even read the back of it. I'm kind of tired right now. I have no brain capacity to read something and then try to summarize it for y'all, so I'm just going to read off the back of the book, and we're just going to let that be good enough, okay? Okay. Have you ever made decisions that you later regretted? Yes, all the time. Maybe I should have kept my mouth shut about how mean Hazel Martin was, because when she ended up dead, the police were looking at me. Oh, okay, hi. We're just really going straight into it. I mean, like, okay, hello, obvious title, but like, okay. Mia Jordan has done the one thing she swore she wouldn't do, return to the small town she thought she left behind. But Pumpkin Hollow has changed. Oh my goodness. Is this a cozy mystery? Is this another cozy mystery? I can't, because the names of all of these towns. We have like Dream Harbor, and then that other place from the little bookshop, the bookshop to die for. They're getting to me. The once thriving Halloween-themed town is down on its luck, and to make matters worse, someone killed Hazel. Can Mia help save the town and find the killer before she winds up in jail or dead? Welcome to the warmth and charm of Pumpkin Hollow, where you'll find a family-owned candy store, lovable characters, and a dead body or two. Perfect! I am going to sign off. I am going to get some groceries. I'm going to make a delicious, cozy dinner with enough leftovers to meal prep for the rest of my work week, my long work week. Help me now. And breathe, because I have uploaded the video. Everything is good. I have uploaded consistently every single day that I have planned out. Bless. We're not quitting now. We're not getting off that track now. And then we're gonna end the evening with a lovely, cozy murder mystery and maybe a slice of cake that I buy at the bakery section of the store, because I may need it to get through this. Talk to you guys when I next have something to say, or hopefully just finish the entire thing and give you my thoughts at the very end. Whee! This was just a fast read. It was light, it was easy, it was kind of just like, honestly, it was very like surface level, to the point where it was just like one of those easy breezy reads that you don't have to think too much on, and really anything at that point will be believable to you because you just want a nice, fun, easy, good time. And that is what this book provided. So honestly, props, kudos to the author. I had a really good time with this book. The summary really does speak for itself. We followed along with our main character as she comes back to her hometown after being away at college for many, many years. And girl, I felt you. Although I am not walking away with as many degrees as you seem to be walking away with, but still. We feel each other. She's 28, she comes back to her hometown, she's living with her parents again, and she's really just like having a time with herself about, you know, just like, what do I want to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? And she has this question at what we think of as the big age of 28, right? But it's so true. It's like, you know, we may be adults, but we're still trying to figure life out. And so she's kind of having this inner turmoil, and immediately, like, the first interaction that she has with this older woman who is her neighbor, well, you know, not many people can make it out in the real world. And it's like, ma'am, first of all, every aspect of this world is the real world, okay? And so she leaves, and her mom have a good, candid conversation. The workday is done for her and her mom. They drive back home, and this neighbor that had that interaction with her, she is such a stickler for like everything just being just right, just so. So when she looks into her neighbor's yard and she sees that there's a scarecrow on the porch, she's like, what is the scarecrow doing on the porch? Like, this person would not do that. Goes up to the scarecrow on the porch, takes off the hat, screams bloody murder. That scarecrow was her neighbor. The police do their job, and I really like that, like, the police do their job in this. They, like, take this seriously. They immediately start questioning people. No one in the neighborhood heard anything. Not even the neighbor that was on the other side of said nosy neighbor, and who would constantly be getting HOA comments because of her. Whew. And so let's just say everyone in this town is suspicious because no one liked this woman. This woman named Hazel. No one liked this woman. So much to the point where anytime our main character, Mia, had any interaction with any of these other people that knew her, and they were the older people, by the way, they were just like, no, we hated her. I'm glad she's gone. And she was so shocked. Even the young kids were just like so shocked because, like, she may have been she may have had an awful attitude. She may have even been an awful human being to people. But she is still a person. She still had a life. She still had a soul. It's like, what? But there are a few people that keep cropping up in her mind. And so, because the police officer that she talked with was the person that she grew up with and was in her class and, you know, had a little bit of a crush on her, allegedly, she decides to tell him everything she has found out, everything she is thinking about this case, and yada yada yada, and he is listening because he likes her, and he still likes her, and they're kind of building off a friendship of sorts that'll lead to romance in the near future. I think it's kind of a slow burn romance going on, but the romance is to the back burner because they're trying to figure out who murdered this woman. Also, they are trying to save their town because now apparently the mayor wants Halloween, the Halloween theme, the Halloween aspect of the town gone. Which this whole town was named specifically because of the Halloween season, because in the past when men went off to the war and the women had to take over for the jobs and things, and then they came back and then they made a commodity of the Halloween season, and that is how they kept their town alive and well. Otherwise, you know, their town would have been off the map. They wouldn't have been able to afford the upkeep and all of these things. So from that moment on, everything became about, you know, keeping this Halloween theme alive, keeping up the tourist appeal and tourist attraction, even throughout the months even throughout the rest of the year that wasn't October and the Halloween season, you know? So it's kind of a big deal. Like, people will lose money. People may lose their businesses because all of their businesses are themed on there's one lane in particular in this town where this one entire street is Halloween themed and they all sell Halloween stuff. So, you know, it would affect businesses, it would affect town life. And so she's trying to save the season as well. So that is what that is. And you got to read the rest of the book to find out because I'm not doing no spoilers here. I'm also not doing any of the star ratings for any of these books because I want y'all to come back for the actual reading wrap-up so you guys can hear my thoughts, my opinions, my ratings, my reasons why for those ratings, and all of the above. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys had a fun time. I had a fun time escaping the corn maze with y'all. Also, thank you for being the best bookish bestie that ever was, is, or ever will be, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye!